Ed Welsh standing by right now from AAA. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning, Bill. How are you doing today?
Good. Did you watch any of the Kentucky Derby?
I didn't, but it kind of reminded me of a NASCAR race. Normally, I take a nap and then I get up like the last 50 laps.
Yeah, right.
So if you watch that, if you were watching that, you just caught the last turn, right? That's all that matters.
That's really, you're right. That's all. Except I think the disqualification might have happened somewhere prior to that. But either way, you add that to the disqualification. What a crazy race this year.
Could you imagine the people that tore up their tickets right after the finish of the race?
Yeah, we've...
like 10 seconds after the race was over, they tore their tickets up to find out.
Well, actually, Dollar General, they had a huge sale on Scotch tape right after that. It was crazy. They were flying off the shelves.
It's funny because we talked about that, and I'm sure that happened numerous times.
Yeah.
The other thing is we joked about the commercial, and when we were in here, I jokingly played a commercial when we went to the answer for that. Well, on the app, it reads commercials. It reads that, hey, you're playing a commercial.
Oh, and it fired commercials.
So on the app, and I apologize to those listening to our stream, it fired a commercial that did not come back in 5 seconds like we did. It played the whole commercial.
So Greeley's like, oh, my gosh, there's a commercial that's on there.
That is so funny.
So the joke was totally lost on them.
Or it was a really long joke. All right, so we're now into May, and the summer season is upon us. Gas prices still high. What are we looking at here?
Interesting, Bill. It's $2.91 this morning is our Utica Rome composite price, and the low in the state is $2.83 in Albany, and everything else is in between. But a year ago today, our Utica Rome price was $2.93. So we're tracking a lot like last year, but we'll just say the variables are slightly different than last year. We predicted earlier that May would be our peak month for pricing, and I'm still believing that. But there's a couple of interesting things. Right now, the crude inventory on hand in the United States is at an all-time high. So there's a lot of crude oil in the bank, so to speak. And the Saudis came out late last week and said that they would increase crude production to offset anything that's going on with the Iranians.
Right.
But then on Friday they said they would maintain production cuts in some form. We don't know what that means.
Right.
What happened is on Tuesday when they announced they would cover for the Iranian losses, the price per barrel dropped. And then on Friday they said they would maintain production cuts in some form, which stabilized the prices late Friday. So it's still a crapshoot of what's going to happen. Obviously, the market is holding its breath what's going on with the Iranians. Certainly, the summer driving season is going to kick in. But U.S. production is high, and we've got a lot of oil in inventory. So it's possible that bad things happen and that just there's an offset.
Right. And that is there is a lot of instability right now. But the one thing that we didn't have 20 years ago is this ramped up oil production from the United States. I mean,
exactly, Bill. We could pretty much control our own destinies here in this country to a degree. And I've mentioned this before, but the pipelines get built out to the Gulf. Our ability to move oil around is going to be a lot better. I really hope one day we have time. We talk about the Jones Act. We should just do a segment on the Jones Act. Because it was designed in the 1920s to kind of save our local shipbuilding. And, of course, it's not necessary anymore. But that Jones Act prevents us from quickly moving oil from one port to another. And, for example, California is some places in California are hitting $4.55 a gallon.
Wow.
And, of course, California's got its own unique set of problems, starting with how they govern the place. But putting that aside, there's a lot of times we can't help other states where we easily could if we had some better ways of transport. So that Jones Act needs to be revisited, and again we'll talk about that someday because I follow the shipping things as well, and it really messes up a lot of strategies for moving oil around. But I will say that we are at a nexus here. If we can keep production up and this inventory on hand, we should start seeing prices level off soon. And by Memorial Day, you could be starting to go the other way.
Okay.
Well, it's fingers crossed that happens. But I'll tell you this, Ed, and you're the expert on this. For starters, I feel like it wasn't that long ago. We were paying $2.35, $2.40. What was it? 4 months ago? Was it right around Christmas time? We were paying about 50 cents less. The other thing is, and President Trump knows this. And my question is, do you think he'll take action? It's great for our economy to have cheap energy. I remember hearing this. People were ringing this bell all the time when Obama was in office, and gas prices were going up. And it was like, hey, listen. $4 gas prices or $3.50 is not good for our economy.
No, it's not. The sweet spot's about $2.50 a gallon.
Right.
Let me just say this: at about $60 a barrel, everybody makes money, and we're paying around $2.50, $2.60 a gallon.
Yeah.
That should be the target at all times.
Yeah.
And if they, again, it's a free market. Obviously, we don't control the market here like they do in other countries, but that's the sweet spot, and obviously the economy's doing pretty good right now. But yeah, if you raise prices past $3.50 a gallon, it'll choke things off.
Do you think the president, is there anything he can do? Because obviously that's one of his biggest accomplishments is the economy, right? I mean, he's always touting that. So is there something he can do? You talked about maybe moving oil from here to there or an uptick in U.S. production.
Yeah, and if you look back to the beginning of his administration when he started to approve those pipelines and some of the other things he's done, again, 15, 18 months ago, I think we would be at $3.25, $3.50 a gallon had he not done that.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but going forward, interestingly, when that crisis hit Puerto Rico, they actually suspended the Jones Act so they could bring stuff in quickly. That happens from time to time when there's disasters, and we have to mobilize. And it would seem to me like use your brain. If it helps out when things are bad, you should just do it all the time.
Right. All right, Ed. We always appreciate the update. It's funny how gas prices really affect the mood of the country. It is quite interesting, and here we are watching them. Even though it looks as if we're in a position where it's unstable, I guess it really isn't when you really take a look at things. So
not comparatively to where we were a few years ago under the last administration.
The host of Auto Talk and from AAA, Ed Welch. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Hey guys, always a pleasure to be with you. Have a great day.